Good morning. So, I want to make this video. I want to talk about turning sexual energy into creative power. And this is something that I've been playing with lately. So, for the last, it's been a good year and a half that I haven't had a sexual partner, and it's by choice. I realized in my past two sexual relationships that when I in intimacy in that way, when I then our souls become bonded, and then there comes like this, almost like the way that I felt it. I started having um, like a telepathic communication or telepathic connection with sexual partners. And it was like part of me was staying with them. But it was a part of me that was just a like a presence, and it wasn't awareness, because in order to be an awareness you have to be inside of a being. But it was like part of me stayed with them, and I could telepathically feel them. And when you have a partner that is not an exact fit, or is a little bit off from you, or is going through their own bewilderments, then you can feel it. You can feel where they are and what they're doing, and the part of you that stays with them sends back to your soul the messages, but you don't quite understand them because they don't come with coherent thoughts. They come, it's just like a knowing. Or and when you are in a sexual relationship with a partner that is not in sync, in complete sync with you, or in complete harmony with you, then it throws you off. And I realized that sex is sacred. Sexuality is sacred, and it is becoming the most vulnerable, coming into the place of your most vulnerability that you can be, especially when you get to a climax like an orgasm. Then it is in this life experience, it is the place where you are in the least, absolute least control. When you are in orgasm, you are like, you go out of your body. It's like an out of body experience. You go into pure joy, to pure love, to pure, I mean, think about it. You're creating life. That is life creation. And you're going into the place that you are the most vulnerable in. That means to have a sexual partner, you have to be in such a place of trust with them, to put yourself into a place of such vulnerability, and also vulnerability of soul connection. When it's the same thing that I was talking about, when you are in a sexual relationship, you allow your soul to be connected to this person. And I've tried to have casual sex, or I had a relationship that was built on, I used to call him my for 2 years, that we weren't in a monogamous relationship. I called him my lover. And we were in a relationship that was more of like a friendship. And we had like every couple of weeks we would meet. And it was kind of like I didn't want a full blown relationship. I was going through my own things. And I realized that even with a partner that is not your ideal partner, or somebody that you don't really want to be in a full-blown relationship with, but you will have a sexual relationship with them, you end up bonding with them, and then you end up giving over this place for a real harmonious and good relationship. You put in a placeholder, and that's exactly what it does. It holds the place. So if you have room for like this much of a relationship, and you put something in that only fulfills it this much, then you have this gaping area in that denominator that is not getting fulfilled. So you're filling let's say you're filling the ocean with 2 drops of water and the rest is just constantly yearning, yearning, yearning. And not only yearning, you're bonding yourself through sexuality to this person. You're bonding yourself um, emotionally with this person, and not only emotionally, if they're out of sync, if they're out of sync with you or they're out of sync with themselves, then you are being constantly shaken back and forth by this. Your own existence comes out of sync with yourself. And in any case, we have places that we're not in sync. This whole twin flame journey is allowing me to realize that. So when I realized this with, with I had a partner that I really did. I fell in love with him, and we had a sexual relationship. But I could feel him. I could feel him when we weren't together, and I could feel, he had his own weaknesses and his own addictions, and he had a need to be with other women, and I could feel it. I could feel it when it was going on. And that's how, because it was so intense, that's how I realized that I was having um, telepathy with him, and that I could feel it when it was going on, and I knew that it was going on. And it was just a knowing. It was like the part of me that I left with him was sending signals back to me, or somehow we were connected in this quantum field, truly and wholly. And so I realized it with him, and then and then I broke it off with him, and it took me months to get over that. I was in so much pain, but I stood through it. It was something that I chose. And then I had another partner, and also with that partner, I realized that having sexual relations opened up that door of telepathy. I guess once you realize it, you learn to recognize it, and it's like learning a language. And so when I broke up with him, we were together for a few months, and when I guess I needed to do work with him, some kind of work. And since I broke off with him after that, after a few months, I met my twin flame, and I haven't had any kind of sexual partner since then. And something that I've realized is that this allows me to really go deep. I do miss sexuality. I do miss having a sexual partner, and I miss the. Oh, it's just like I miss that. I miss everything about it. I miss the romance and the flirting and the touch and the velvet and and the merging and the fluid of it, and the combining. And see, I'm all getting into it. So I really do I miss it. I enjoy sex, and and with a good partner, right? When it's bad, it's bad, but when it's good, it's good. So I really miss it, but it has to come in a place of wholeness and fullness. That means that there has to be a trust, and there has to be a real connection, and there has to be a friendship and a loyalty and a dependency. And that doesn't mean that, it can come in many different ways and forms. It doesn't have to, it just means that you have to be in sync with that partner, and you have to go into it willingly and knowingly and open with each other, and in full awareness of what is. There can't be any kind of anything behind any doors hidden. Everything has to be in the open, out in the open, and in full correspondence. I don't know. That's not the word, but I'm not going to get stuck on it. Um, and so lately, I've decided that I am going to take all of that sexual energy and put it into creative power. So this is something that Yeah, I didn't really study it that much, but I've heard of it and I can feel the power in it. So that means no sexual release. That means that even if I go into my mind and I imagine it and I think of it and I can go "Ugh," in it, but there's no sexual relief. And so then release, relief, release, release. So I'm taking all of that power and putting it into creative power. If you think about it, sexuality is creation, it's life, it's forming life. It is the ultimate creation, it's the ultimate power of creation. So I'm taking that, all of that power of creation, and putting it into my work. And that means that my work will have in it all the elements of sexual power, which is sensation and passion and love and all the finesses, all of the creation. And so that is something that I'm really putting my focus on, and something, it's like when we're going through this twin flame journey and we're going through the pain and we are working on ourselves. We are also, trying to distract ourselves with all these little mind games and things, and games that we play with ourselves. So this is one of my new games that I'm playing with myself, harnessing the power of sexuality into creative power and into my work. So thank you for watching. This has been interesting. I kind of, as I'm speaking, it's coming into form. I knew that I wanted to do a video like this, and I didn't know exactly what was going to come of it. But I'm pretty happy with what did come of it, and I think that it really does kind of explain where I'm at and my beliefs on sexuality. I think that when we go out lightheartedly and have sexual relationships with others that we don't love and that we don't have that connection with, it's really we're giving away our power. We're giving away, not only that, it's unattractive. If something is so easy to attain, you don't appreciate it. So in any case, holding on to that is the most valuable of values. It is the most intimate. It's letting somebody know you in a way that is a privilege. And so giving away the privilege to a one night stand, or somebody that you just met yesterday, or somebody that you met a week ago, it's not lasting. Anyway, I'm not saying that it can't last, because I've had relationships that have lasted after, they've lasted for a certain amount of time, but it does bring something that is so sacred down into something that is, it like diminishes the sacredness of it. It's like it's like how to explain this? It's like taking something that is your ultimate uh, source. It's the power of your creation. It's the place from which your children and offspring come from, and diminishing it into something that is just a game. It's like taking the holiest of holies and throwing it in the toilet, you know, or stepping on it. I don't know how much more, like how to really get the essence of it. It's like, and this is for men and for women. I'm not speaking only to women. Also for men, this is your creative power. This is your seed. This is your offspring. This is your power of creation. This is your God-given gift. This is the place that you are most vulnerable. And I'm thinking of Samson and Delilah. Yeah. This is your source of your power. This is your manlyhood. This is um, your life power, and you're giving it away for a cheap fix, which doesn't mean anything a second after it happens. I'm sure that, I after my marriage, I tried all sorts of different things. And one of them, I went to a festival and I had a one night stand. And afterwards, I felt dirty. I felt desecrated. Is that a word? Or I felt violated. But I felt self violated. Like, how could you do that? That was so cheap and so, ugh. And all I wanted to do was shower. It just felt dirty to me. And like my body was violated. Oh, there was another point that I was going to make. So then after I realized that you know that sex doesn't give you a fix. When you're hurting, or you're feeling that void, or you're feeling like you want to be wanted, or you want somebody to love you, and you go out and you have sex with somebody, it doesn't fill that void. It makes you feel even worse. It makes you feel cheap and violated and used, and not even used by the other person a lot of times. And maybe you feel more used by yourself, like, and you also feel like you went out and got a cheap fix because you're not able to deal with your own emotions, or you're not, or your self-worth, it like brings your self-worth down because you cheated yourself. You violated yourself. You gave yourself away for cheap. You're unworthy of a full meaningful relationship, and you aren't able to hold out for that relationship, so you go and give yourself away. Um, and whoever buys into that is also not worthy of, you feel like, okay, if that person was with me after a day, then they're not worthy, also because they're giving their own selves away for cheap. So it's really um, like self-destructive to get into those loops. And so after I realized that, first of all, the draw, sometimes it feels like, oh, I just want to be with somebody. I want somebody to hug me and console me and make me feel okay, which I see can be consoling. Sometimes we do need touch, but it doesn't have to be a full blown sexual encounter. It can be, everything up to that, everything up to the ultimate connection. Um, but after I realized this, after I came out of that relationship, and I was really hurt, and I felt like the empty sex just didn't do it for me. I could feel, after I realized that I had left parts of me with these other people that I have had sex with throughout the years, that because of the sexual encounter, parts of me have been left with them, and parts of me, like I felt the telepathy with the one, with a couple of my partners, that I felt really telepathy. And I realized that part of my soul was left with them because of the soul connection. And so when I realized that, I went into myself. I went into, I made the room dark. I got into bed, and I went into this deep, deep, deep meditative state. And I went in to the field, and I called back all of the parts of me that I left with other people. And I could feel myself pulling them out of these other people. There were places where I left, I could feel my power coming back to me, because I felt like it was that by having those parts out with these other people that I had, out with these men that I had had sexual relationships with, that it was weakening me. And by pulling those parts of myself back to me, I was empowering myself and bringing my own power back to me. In that way, and then I started feeling like remnants, parts of these people within myself. I could kind of feel it in my womb, like kind of like stirring. I guess because I was stirring it all up, I could feel like this stirring, this churning in my womb, kind of like in my stomach. These parts of these other people they had left with me, and part of them I could feel like wanted to be with me, that they didn't want to leave my being. They wanted to stay with me, and kind of like that they were sucking my energy out of me, or like trying to latch onto me or keep control over me or um, receiving peace and being in me. And so I went in deep and I just sent them out with love. Really just sent them out with love, and I could feel them leaving my body. It's like entities leaving my body, or parts of these other people's souls or spirits leaving my body. And so that's where I'm at with sexuality. I am practicing sacred sexuality. So regardless of that my next partner or the partner that is already in existence, that is coming, that is rising with me to meet me at the higher planes. Um, because I really feel like with everything that I'm going through in the twin flame journey and my spiritual awakening, that the level that I am at now, I really do want to rise a little bit higher and come into my full self power and full self love, because I do realize that I have to fully love myself before I can love anybody else fully. Um, so I really do feel, and if I meet at this point, then I am falling short of the full potential of the relationship and the full potential of love that can be. And so I still feel like I'm rising. And I feel like that when we do get into relationships with others, we meet people that are at the same level as we are. So the person that I am magnetizing to me is at a higher level alongside me. And so I have to rise to that point as well. And so right now I'm taking all this sexual energy and I'm putting it into my work and into my spiritual awakening, and and really focusing on bringing myself to the point that I want to be at when my sexual and intimate and life partner come into my life, and then together jointly we can build a life, um, build a beautiful, harmonious empire of love, and that there will be so much love in that empire that there will be plenty of love to share with others and to inspire others and to help others rise to that point. And so I feel like that is my spiritual awakening and journey. And so I'm sending you much, much love, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and it really helps me bring everything into one point. All of this sexual talk, and just to like sum it all up, I just went, "Ah." And when it is sweet like that, it is just, when it comes from a place of pure love and dedication and harmony and um, synchronicity. The act of lovemaking is just the sweetest, most velvety, chocolatey, just, oh, it's just so good. And so I just want to leave you on that high note. So thank you for watching.